Okay, so hey guys, and welcome back to another Access 72 video. And in today's video, I'm back with another interview, and I'm here with Ash Lane. Ash, how are we?
Yeah, very good, mate, Axel. Very good.
Great. Okay, thank you very much for doing this interview, mate.
No problem.
Great. And so, am I right in saying you're a 32-year-old super flyweight who's 16, 10, and 2?
Yeah, that sounds about right. I forget my record all the time, but yeah, that sounds about right.
Okay, great, nice one. Well, if you are new around here and you haven't subscribed, please do so. Like the video if you do need like video, and let's get straight into it. So, the question which I always like to start off with: why did you start boxing?
Uh, to be honest, I started boxing when I was 15, and I started because I was bullied as a kid, and I was quite shy. I had a bit of a speech problem, and a few of the kids wanted to bully me, and I had this one fight with my next door neighbour down the park, and he was a bit bigger and older than me, and I went home with a few bruises, and my mum said, we best take you somewhere to learn how to defend yourself. And I've been doing karate for a few years, so I could defend myself a little bit, but I wasn't really aggressive or anything. So, there was this boxing gym that was opening up 4 miles down the road in Far Cotton in Northampton, and I went to the open evening, and it was brilliant, man. I'd never even thought about boxing my whole life. I wasn't interested in it.
Yeah.
But I went to that open evening, and I just absolutely loved it. And then I was at every training session every week without fail. It was it became like a little family for me. That's how I started. I started because I was bullied, and I'm happy I did.
Definitely. And would you say for people who, or for kids who might be in that kind of situation now, to go, and it would be worth going and try and start and doing boxing?
Hell yeah, 100%. Look, boxing's not an easy game. It's like it's like anything. You got good, you got bad. But if you weigh up all the positives and negatives, until you come to the professional game, if I've just taken boxing as a sport, just on its own, it's got way more positives than it has negatives. It teaches self-discipline, confidence, teamwork, responsibility, fitness, health. It teaches you so much about life, and it teaches you about yourself. There's nothing greater than having to stand toe to toe with another man opposite you in the ring, with hundreds of people, 1,000 people watching. Nothing tests you as much as that. And you really find yourself in boxing. And if there's anybody that is struggling in life, being bullied or is shy, suffers with depression, anxiety, PTSD, anything like that, boxing, it changes lives. I've seen one of my old mates, I haven't seen him for a long time now, but my mate Jamie, he had PTSD from being attacked by a group of lads, and he went from this this little lad that was a coward. He seemed like a bit of a coward, all nervous and shy and wouldn't leave the house, to being able to walk down dark alleys on his own, going to a box gym full of 30, 40 people, and be confident enough to talk to people and train and box and spar. And that's what boxing's done for him. So and what boxing's done for me, from being bullied to where I am now, it changes lives. It's wicked. Everyone should do it.
Definitely, that's great, and that's a great story as well. And so, kind of speaking more about your kind of start of your career, and maybe kind of going back to the amateurs, what was your kind of biggest achievement from the amateurs?
From the amateurs, to be honest, I didn't do as good in the amateurs as I probably should have done. There's a lot of stuff from my boxing career that I kind of regret. And in the amateurs, I mean, I did okay. I went my first like 8 fights unbeaten. I lost my first fight in the quarterfinals of the schoolboys up in Liverpool. I mean, that was like the way that was judged, reffed. The whole tournament was like, I mean, I think there was like 26, 27 fights. It was the Midlands against the um, Northwest or something like that. I can't remember who it was, but it was up in Liverpool. It was the Midlands against like the Northwest in the quarterfinals of the schoolboy championships, and like I had 26 fights or 16 fights, whatever it was. There's only one lad from the Midlands who went through, just one, and he stopped his kid. Impressive. He knocked his kid out. Everyone else lost. It was. I think there was an investigation after it, but yeah, I won the Midlands area a couple of times. I boxed for England's select team against Wales 3 times, I think. I got to the quarterfinals and semi-finals of national championships. I never really got any further, and I'd probably say, I mean, that's probably because I boxed at the wrong weight. I was boxing like at 57 kilo. I should have boxed at 54 kilo. But we had one of my stable mates was boxing at 54, so I took the higher route. And 2, I just wasn't really good enough to win a national title. I'd have loved to, but I didn't quite have the skill set. I had the toughness and the strength and the fitness, but apart from that, my skill set wasn't very good. But yeah, long story short, I won the Midlands a few times, and got to the quarterfinals and semi-finals of the championships.
They're still impressive accolades. And so, how many fights did you get that in? How many fights amateur did you have?
I think I had 44 amateur. So I went my first 8 unbeaten. I remember one season I had 17 fights in one season. I mean, I think I had like 4 in my first season. Then I had 17 in my second. Then it was 4, then 4 again. And then I moved, I think my 4th or 5th year, I moved down south, down to Devon. And I only had a couple of fights. So I boxed. I ended up boxing for the Western Counties.
Oh, right.
Like I think I had 4 fights. And after my first fight, I got picked for the Western Counties. Against Brian Hart or someone I boxed for. I can't remember, man. I had so many fights. But yeah, man, I boxed for the Western Counties, but that was, I forgot your question now. My head's gone off in a tangent because, like, I haven't thought about my amateur days for a long time. So it's kind of bringing up loads of memories for me.
No, you answered my question, and I'm sure it's always good to go back down memory lane.
Yeah, yeah, it does bring up some good feelings, some good times, getting to like think about traveling around. I mean, I don't know if many people know this who watch boxing, but like as an amateur, I remember like I don't know if you can do it now, but like back in the day, like I'd be like say on a Friday night, I'd be or a Thursday night, I'd be like down to Chinese, get like sweet and sour pork balls or chicken balls, like some prawn crackers and make fried rice. And I get a phone call off my coach John Daly. Say, yeah, do you want to box tomorrow? I got Nathan Reeve fighting on the show in Bedford. Do you want to get your kit? So the next day, I like do a run. I like get my kit in a kit bag, and I go and weigh in just in case there was a fight for me. Like, that happened loads of times, man. Like one of the boxers would be fighting on the show, and we'd all grab our kit bags, we'd go over and we'd weigh in just in case there was a fight that could be made. Like, oh man, there was one time where like this is real that memory now. One time that Nathan Reeve was boxing in Bedford, and I got my kit, and I went down and we weighed in, and it ended up being a fight for me. Only problem was I forgot my boots and I didn't have a gum shield. Right. So I had to wear Nathan's boots and Nathan's gum shield after he'd finished his fight. Oh. Yeah, wasn't very hygienic, but yeah, got the fight and we got the win.
That's all that matters, mate. That's all that matters. Alright, fair enough. And so, I mean, moving kind of now into your professional side, why did you turn professional when you did?
Oh man, I can't remember. When I was how old was I? Oh man, I can't remember. I must have been 21 or something when I turned pro. I didn't really think I was meant for the amateur game.
Mm-hmm.
My style, I like to stand and fight instead of just box and move and pick off. Yeah, I like to stand and fight, and like I didn't really think like I was made for the amateur game, and I wanted to earn some money. I was 21.
Mm-hmm.
I moved out of home when I was like 18. You know, I mean, I didn't have any money. I needed to work, needed to provide for myself. You know, I had nobody supporting me. I was on my own, so I had to do something, and I wanted to box professionally anyway. I lost Amir Khan when he was an amateur, and he was an Olympic silver medalist in 17. But then he turned pro, and it was kind of like an inspiration to me, Amir Khan. So, you know, I wanted to then turn pro. You know, so like I think I went to Thailand. I was in Devon for a year, and then I went to Thailand for 10 weeks,
Wow.
a little training camp. I come back, and I was like, you know, bugger it, let's go turn pro. You know, where do I go to? Nathan Reeve, he'd already turned pro with Errol Johnson at the Black Country
Mm-hmm.
boxing. So I went along, had a chat, and with PJ Rosen, and then we just got the ball rolling.
Mm-hmm. Definitely, fair enough. And so, moving kind of through your amateur career, you've been in the the professional side. You've been in the professional side for a while now, and so you've won some quite creditable accolades. You've been Midlands champion and Commonwealth champion, if I'm right in saying. And so, how big of an achievement was being both of them?
Amateur fight, yeah, that was a nice achievement. That was an awkward, hard fight against Leo Bretfido.
Mm-hmm.
Like that kid does not get the credit he deserves. You know, Brett. Man, like it was just awkward, and like that fight was the first time I've ever been hit like with a punch that like rocked me to my boots.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I remember throwing. I'm just going to stand over here because my arm's going a bit dead. I remember throwing a left jab or something. I think it was a left jab. I remember throwing a left jab, and you see me here,
Mm-hmm.
and it just come away with the left jab with the right hand over and right, boom, flush on the temple, and my whole body just, you know, burst, and it went black. I don't remember anything until like 5-10 seconds later, where like I opened my eyes or it went clear, and I had Brett Fiedler turn around on the ropes, and that was the first time I'd ever been hit with an almost concussive punch. So I mean, I got through it. I won. It was a very awkward fight, and that was my first achievement. It was amazing to get that win. The Commonwealth, that was just unbelievable. Winning that fight against Ramon Belletta, especially as like with Ramon Belletta, he beat me on points. A few years before, I say beat him, you know, because I don't believe I lost that fight. Like it was a close fight with Michael. It was on his home show. I lost by 1 point. He didn't. I don't think I won. That's what I'm going to say. So for me to then get my revenge and to beat Michael and to win comfortable and convincingly, like I didn't even step out of second gear to beat him. I was so relaxed, calm. He hardly touched me. I mean, he caught me with a few shots, but you can't go swimming and not get wet. So I mean, yeah, I mean that was just man, I did not sleep all night after winning that Commonwealth title. It was just unbelievable. It was just a shame that like that Commonwealth. I was in the change rooms before the fight, and Jamie Salinger and Chris Salinger both said to me, you win this fight and your life will change. And it fucking did. Excuse my language, it did. But for it's changed for the. A lot of my life has changed for the better, and some of it's changed for the worse. I went in a downward spiral after that fight. I had one of the worst years of my boxing career ever, and it's been real up and down.
That's fair. I mean, is there any kind of thought of wonder why that might have happened?
What, this downward spiral? Well, in life, I don't want to get philosophical, but in life, the universe has a way of balancing things out. And so, to go on such a massive high, you've got to have a calm down. You have to. It's only the nature of the universe, duality. And I think it's just the universe bringing me down, which was a shame, but it was. And my next year after that was just 2 fights where I was meant to be on good money, in 2 good defences, and on both occasions the opponents pulled out either a couple of days before or on the day of the fight, and then I ended up, my fight being downgraded, ended up getting massive pay cuts. I was Commonwealth champion. I've left my manager Chris Halligan now, so I'm not afraid to talk about it. I wasn't afraid anyway. It's just what it is, just facts. But I'm not slating him. This is just a fact. I was Commonwealth champion, and for the whole year and a half I was Commonwealth champion. 2 fights, 2 defences, and I got paid less than $2,500 for both fights.
Wow. That's poor. And
in a whole year, I couldn't pay my bills. I was still working. I couldn't pay any bills, so and $2,500 on one of those fights, I had to fight for more money. I had to fight to get more money. I refused to box if I didn't get paid more money. So,
that's fair.
that's the brutal part of the sport.
Yeah, it is indeed. And so for them fights which are moving on a bit, or I suppose the fights in which you've lost in your career, how tough is it to bounce back from them?
I've never really found them too tough to bounce back from, to be honest. I've never really found them too tough to bounce back from. I'm quite resilient, and I understand that a loss isn't really a loss. You can always come back and move on and push on and improve and gain after. So I've never really found them too hard. Sometimes it knocks your confidence, but I don't know. I just I find that if I lose a fight, I end up with more fight in me. I end up with more passion to prove people wrong and stuff like that. So I don't really find that I find it hard to come back.
That's fair, and I mean that's probably why for the moment you're, I believe, on a 2-fight win streak. Am I correct?
Yeah, I think out of my last 10 fights, I think I've won 8 of my last 10. My last 2 losses have been against Brad Foster for the British Commonwealth, and then Kaz Ashfaq. I shouldn't have boxed Kaz Ashfaq, to be honest. I boxed a former Olympian at 3 weeks' notice, at 2 weeks of training, and I was only training once a day, and I only did it for the money. I was going through a stage where I wasn't really. I changed my whole diet, and I was going through certain stages in my life where I didn't really have the passion for boxing throughout the lockdown and everything like that. And I was, in my mind, I was walking away from the sport. I wasn't interested at all. I completely lost my passion for it. And then Chris Zaniga rang me and offered me the fight against Kaz Ashfaq in 3 weeks. And I thought, bloody hell, I best get training then. So, you know, I mean, I didn't really care about winning. I just wanted the money. I wanted the payday. So I wanted to pay my bills and stuff. So I thought, but I didn't want to look crap. So I wanted to like at least do some training. So I trained once a day with Lee Haskins for 2 weeks on the pads and stuff. And then I went up, I had the whole like week in the hotel doing little bits on the treadmill and stuff like that. And then I boxed Ashfaq, and just the size difference was like, he was like there and I was here. It was like David and Goliath, and it was massive. I remember looking at him in the ring and I was just like, where am I in it, man? Like, this kid's like looks massive compared to me. He didn't even make the weight. Like, on the fight week, I mean, I'd only have 2 weeks training, once a day. I've been working in the warehouse all the other time throughout. And like, I was 1 pound off the weight on the Monday. 1 pound. I literally, on the week, I had to keep the weight on for the fight. Kaz Ashfaq didn't even make weight. Like, you know, I'm not by a lot, it was only by a little, it wasn't much. But like, that's how much of the, there's no slating him at all. It's just how much of a difference the weight was. So like, for me, I had to keep the weight on. He was obviously killing himself to try and get down to the weight, which he didn't even make. So like, by the time we stepped in the ring, I was the exact same as I was the day before. He put on like 10, 12 pounds. So it was like a steering big at me. Yeah, I remember I was in there drinking, I was going, this kid's massive. Like, and like just the arm length. Like, I mean, my arm is like this long, and his arms are that long. So I mean, like, when I was trying to hit him, and, you know, he's a class act, man. Like, former Olympian, he's got that skill, and when you haven't got that will to win either, it has a big difference on your performance. So like, obviously now the fire in my belly, I was in the change rooms, and I mean, this will show you how much of a competitive spirit I was in. So like, normally in the change rooms, you're warming up, you're on mats, you're like pumped up, you're like ready to go. Against Kaz Ashfaq in the change rooms, I was sat down with a towel over my head, doing some meditating. And apart from that, I was sending funny photos to my partner. Yeah, I was on like one of those Snapchat filters with a face filter and stuff. I was taking photos and sending them to my partner 5 minutes before I was in the ring. Like, I didn't even warm up because like, I wasn't first, like, you know. And so I shouldn't have really been in that. Like, you know, it was just suicide for me, really. So yeah, I mean, I got off on a tangent, man. I could talk forever, but like, so yeah, like, I think two out of my last 10 fights or whatever, I've lost to Ashfaq, which I shouldn't have been in the ring for, and Brad Foster. Look, Brad Foster, that was a brutal fight, 12 rounds. He's brilliant as well, man. His skill is brilliant, but I only had 3 weeks' notice for that fight as a Commonwealth champion. 3 weeks' notice, so 2 weeks of hard training, 1 week up there. Like, it was a good fight. It'd have probably beat me anyway, to be honest, because I don't think my skill set was really where it should have been. I was making lots of silly mistakes, you know, and like, I'm rectifying all of them now. My new coach, Lee Haskins, you know, we know the work and everything, but I was making lots of silly mistakes at that time, which he was punishing anyway. So whether I'd had longer than 3 weeks or not, I don't think would have mattered. I think he would have won. Might have been closer, but I think it probably won on a split or 116, 112, something like that. So, but there were 2 losses. So really, I mean, although I haven't been boxing a massive deal the last couple of years, you look at that, I'm not on a bad record, not on a bad little run, really.
No, definitely not. And so, I mean, you've been around the sport for a while now, and so how long would you say? Or I'll rephrase this question: where do you see yourself in 5 years within the sport?
5 years within the sport. Well, I'm 32 now, almost as old as Lee Haskins when he retired. So it's getting old now. He is former, you know. So 32, 5 years time I'll be 37. By the time I'm 37, I'd have won the British title at super flyweight. I probably would have won the Commonwealth title as well as Superfly. Won them both. I believe I can win the European title before I retire. It's just getting these fights for me. Big up Kieran Farrell, Vicious Promotions, because he's going to do the business. But I believe in 5 years' time, I'd have won the British, Commonwealth, possibly European. I'd be in some great fights. I'd earned some good money. I'd have retired from boxing because I'm not going to get punched in the head at 37. I'll more than likely do my manager's license. And my little dream, which I'll be managing, and outside of that, I'll probably be doing like little work in charities and whatnot, and I'll have my little farm with some cows and animals, and that'll be me then. 37.
That's fair. It's good to see that you've got these aspirations, and I mean, I'm sure if you're driven by like them goals, and it will eventually happen.
Well, look, you know, I'm 32. Normally, you see at 32, people's drive kind of goes and their body starts breaking down and they're on the back end. You know, I'm 32. I'm ready to go, man. I got the fire. I want to fight, man. Like you can see in my the tone of my voice, my enthusiasm, my passion. I just want to get in there and start ripping people apart now. You know, I've always been nice. I've always kept myself in check, and I haven't been too outgoing. And I've always seen boxing as a gentleman's sport. But you know, I'm 32. I've learned a lot. I'm becoming a lot wiser. I'm a lot more experienced with stuff, and you know, I've got that fire in me even more than what I used to have before. You know, and I've just got the experience and the ability and the being wise now in the mind to use it. And when this passion starts going again, that's when it's time to walk away. But I know why it's here, and it's here because I've got stuff to do, and I want to I've got to make history, man. I'm from Northampton. No one's ever won a British title from Northampton before. I'm the first to do the Commonwealth. I'm going to be the first to do the British, and I can say that categorically. All these super flyweights, like, they got to start fighting me. Like, you know, I mean, you got IS Ahmed and Casey Kademi. They've had like 4 fights together for the British. They keep coming to they got to get sacked off. It's driving me nuts. Let someone else fight for the British title. It's just ridiculous. They're hogging the title. Actually, to be fair, we was offered the fight for Commonwealth title against IS Ahmed 6 days ago, to box on the 22nd of December. And then 3 days after, the fight was pulled. And I accepted the fight straight away because I know I smashed that little rat all over the place. I'd knock him out. I'll probably knock Casey Kademi out as well. So, I mean, if they're watching this, I'm after all your I'm after all of them. I would take them to pieces. I'm too big, I'm too strong. I'm going to hit way too hard of them. I'm like a bulldozer now. I'm going to smash them to pieces.
That's great.
Yeah, man. Let's get this fight on, man. Let's get them on. Come on. Let's get them on.
That's great. It's good to hear your energy, man. I'll leave with this final question, which I always like to ask. You've got a little bit of a platform here. Would you like to shout anything out?
I'd like to say big up to all my sponsors. You know, I've got my manager, Kieran Farrell of Vicious Promotions. Big him up. Big Up Lee Haskins in round one gym. Jim Flooring. You got Ashton Scaffolding in Bristol. MDP Flooring. You've got Bocker Teamwear. You've got, I'm going to get crucified if I forget one. Paul Tompkins Physiotherapy. My missus Shell, I'd like to give her a shout out. She supports me in everything and anything she does. You know, seriously, she does everything for me. And big of the carnivore lifestyle. People ain't done it what they're missing out on.
Right.
You know? So, yeah, man.
Mm-hmm.
I was, mate, great talking to you.
It's been a pleasure. Yes, thank you very much for this interview, my friend.
No problem. Thanks.
And maybe when you've been back fighting for the Commonwealths and the British, we can come back and do a return interview.
Summer 2023. So this summer coming up with British champion. Mark my words. All I need is that fight. All they gotta do is they gotta grow a pair of balls and fight me. That's all they gotta do. I don't think they will, but it's all they gotta do. Someone's gonna have to. You know, the post-ball control. They're mandating me in a British eliminator. Well, Marshall Braithwaite failed the weight for his final eliminator, so he can't be mandatory anymore. So, come on, we need the box-ball control now. Make me the mandatory. I'll jump in there. I'll smash Leon Ahmed all over the place, the British champion, and then I'll fight someone else. I'll defend it. I'll claim it outright.
That's great, okay, and so we'll leave it like that. We'll leave it with that final big strong statement. And if you are new around here and you haven't subscribed, please do so. Like the video if you do need like video, and thanks for watching.